Hello. Today is Monday, and it's time for Commissioner and Carr. I'm Dustin Zarni. I'm the Democratic Elections Commissioner for Onondaga County, and we are going to be talking about New York State Board of Elections released their final registration numbers, or their first registration numbers for the Senate and congressional districts. They were taking, today's July 18th, they were taken on June 6th, but it took a little time for them to release it because, well, we were going through a primary, and also, we were also, had to do a lot of redistricting after the primary. So these numbers are estimates based on the June enrollments. And then, of course, I'm also going to talk about City of Syracuse redistricting. We haven't talked about this in a little bit on this podcast, but they are entering their final phase. They have released their final map, and they have their final two public meetings this week before they submit their map to the Syracuse Common Council. So those are the two things that I'm going to talk about today in today's Commissioner in a Car. So first, let's go to the Syracuse redistricting, because I think that's what I have remembered up here first. So there are two meetings on the 20th and 21st. They're at the Syracuse Southside Innovation Center and Northside Learning Center. I have shared on my timelines the events on Facebook and on my Twitter timelines, and I'll put it in the show notes as well once this is posted, what the where the dates are and where the meetings are. These are the final two meetings for on the 20th and 21st for the Syracuse redistricting. After these meetings, they have a final map that they propose, which is a pretty different map than what is out there right now. And they are going to submit that to the Common Council for their approval in their August session. So if you have any changes, or even if you like the map that you want, you should get out there to these two meetings and make sure that you are available to give comment, because this is the whole thing with this redistricting. Is this is by the citizens, for the citizens. It's an incredible process. 15 dedicated people who have had 12 now by the end of this week, public meetings, taking feedback and putting them, have about a year-long process to get new districts in the city of Syracuse. It'll be the first time in 20 years we've had new districts, although even 20 years ago, they were not substantial changes. So this is a once-in-a-generation thing, and I think something that's very beneficial for our home city in Syracuse, and also something that I think the state can take a look at doing as well. So check those out. Also, New York State Board of Elections has released their redistricting numbers today. These were for the Senate and congressional maps. I always have to remind you of the saga that we are on with redistricting in New York. But if you remember, we are going towards an August 23rd primary, which is our second primary this year, because the Senate maps and the congressional maps were found to be unconstitutional. And then a special master was put in place, but he could not deliver maps in time for the June primary. So they had a special primary in August for those races. And while we had, at the time of the special masters dropping the maps, we had an idea of registrations based on, the current numbers. Now these are the official registrations of active voters in those districts. First, we'll start off with the congressional district. That's New York 22. Again, all of the exact numbers are shared on my timeline, so check that out. But I'll give you my impressions. New York 22, their congressional district that includes all of Onondaga County, all of Madison County, and all of Oneida County, and a very small 200 registered voter populace in Oswego County in the village of Cleveland. That is the congressional district, and it is a Democratic-leaning congressional district where Democrats have about a little over 25,000 voter enrollment edge in that district. It's about the same as it's been in the New York 24 for the most part. which was a Democratic-leaning district, but was able to vote for John Katko. And that's mainly because John Katko was able to win large majorities in Cayuga and Wayne County that were a part of the district, which overcame, especially with Dana Balter's run in 2018, where she won Onondaga County, and more than likely won Onondaga County in 2020 if the working families wasn't split. Now, we don't know how what is going on for the congressional map. So it's a slightly blue Democratic district. It is although it's an open seat, there are primaries on the Democratic and Republican side, so we don't know the candidates. But the final registration numbers bore out what happened during redistricting, which is this is a swing seat, but with a slight blue lead in the registration, although we don't know how they're going to perform voting-wise. So that's that. And then we have SD 48. This is the district that Democratic Senator Rachel May is running in. She doesn't represent all of that right now. She represents most of it. But this district, it represents the city of Syracuse, the southern portion of Onondaga County, all the way up the western side of Onondaga County to Lysander, and then over into northern Cayuga County and the city of Auburn. This district is a heavily Democratic district. Democrats have almost a 2-to-1 edge in this race. So that is, what is going on in that race. Obviously, Senator May is running. There is a Republican, Julie Abbott-Keenan, running against her, who's a county legislator from the southwest portion of the county. But she also has a primary on the conservative line that is happening in August. So that race, and again, registration is not necessarily always going to be indicative of turnout. Objectively speaking, this is a Democratic district, and the Democrats to lose in that district. The other district, SD 50, which is the seat that John Mannion is running in, is a true split district. Republicans have about 1,500 more registered voters in it than Democrats, but that's not a lot considering there's about 200,000 people in the district. It's pretty evenly split between Democrats, Republicans, and non-enrolleds. So that district is a toss-up, and Senator Mannion is running. He's an incumbent. He's going to have a lot of money, but he's going to need a lot of help and a lot of volunteers to keep that district Democratic. So that district looks to be a little bit more competitive. He has a Republican running against him, Rebecca Shuroff, who was a former candidate for Manlius Town Board last year, but lost, and then also was a campaign manager for Angie Renna, who was John Mannion's former opponent from 2 years ago. You may remember Angie Renna is going around doing all the campaign election conspiracy tours around New York State now that she's no longer a candidate. So that is what's going on in that district. It's a pretty evenly split district between Democrats and Republicans. Of course, that district is the northern half of Onondaga County, starting from Camillus through Clay and Cicero and down to DeWitt and Manlius, and then up into Oswego County. It does have the cities of Fulton and Oswego in it, but it is still Oswego County. And so you really have kind of a bifurcated, district here where you have a very, a slightly Democratic portion of Onondaga County, which Democrats have about a 10,000 voter edge in, and then Oswego County, where Republicans have about a 12,000 voter edge in. So those districts are, is a, kind of a Jekyll and Hyde district. Now, Onondaga County has about 2/3 of the voters, and Oswego County has about 1/3 of the voters in the district, but it is a pretty split district, and is something that is going to be probably the closest race of this year. And Senator Mannion, who's this is a Democratic podcast. He's a great Democrat. People should go out and help out his race because he will need it. But he also has the power of incumbency and has been a good representative for the area. So this is, but those registrations now have all been released. So that now that we're starting to get an idea, we do have the August primary coming up. In the August primary in central New York, in Onondaga County, we have New York 22, which is a four-way race for Democrats. And I'm going to just go in how I remember their name order. Francis Cano, Sale Clehood, Chol Majak, and Sam Roberts. I believe that's actually even in alphabetical order of their last names. And then in the Republican primary, there's Stephen Wells and Brandon Williams. And then we also have a Conservative Party primary between Julie Abbott-Keenan and I forgot the guy's name who's running from Auburn area that is running for the Conservative line in SD 48. So those are the three races that are happening for the August 23rd primary. Absentee ballots just got sent out for that. We actually sent out about 4,500 absentee ballots for this primary, which is more than what we sent out for the June primary, as people have been requesting it. Also, August is a time period when a lot of people are away on vacation, so I think we're getting a lot of people requesting absentee ballots for that. If you want an absentee ballot, go to onvote.net, and we can get you an application and get that sent out shortly. Absentee ballots are due, or applications are due by August 8th. So online or in person or by mail by August 8th. And then absentee ballots are due on August 23rd for the primary. They have to be either postmarked or in our offices on August 23rd. Early voting will start on August 13th and run through the 21st. All of this information is available at onvote.net. I know it's kind of a quick turnaround here. We usually have kind of the doldrums of summer, but as we get, caught up, but there is no catching up. We have to just keep rolling with these elections, and we will. The next few weeks, we're going to be dedicated to, getting out the vote for the August primary. We have to catch up on registrations because we had a lull in registrations during the June primary when we were running that one, and now we're running that. Party changes. This is a little different for the August primary. At this point, you can change your party and vote in the August primary. You could not do that in the June primary, but because of the weird placement of the August primary, after the sequester of party changes has ended, you can actually change your voter registration and vote in a primary today for the August primary, right up until Election Day. That's the standard right now, unless there's a court ruling that comes down between now and then. So if you're interested in changing your party because you want to vote in the August primary, get that in as soon as possible. And that way we can have it ready for early voting on August 13th. If you are not registered to vote at all, though, you only have until July 29th to register to vote for the August primary. So that those are the basic dates. We'll be reminding you about that over the next few weeks. So that's really all I have for you today. It's kind of a quick pod, but reminder, Syracuse Redistricting final 2 meetings, the 20th and 21st at the Northside Learning Center and Syracuse Innovation Center. Go to the Syracuse Redistricting website or look at my show notes for the exact dates and times and places for those two meetings and maps. Also, the registration numbers for New York 22, SD 48, and SD 50 are released by the New York State Board of Elections. You can go to my Facebook or Twitter feeds to see those. And finally, absentee ballots are going on for the August primary. You'll have till August 8th to apply, till August 23rd to return those and have them postmarked. So those are the things that you have to remember. Check out the show notes once this gets posted. Thank you so much for tuning in to Commissioner in the Car. Later this week, I will have my Zoom with Zarni with Rachel May. It was postponed from last week due to a scheduling error on my issue. Actually, not error, but a slight emergency on my part. And she's gracious enough to come on this week for us. So we'll have that this Wednesday. My wonky Wednesday, I'll be talking about absentee voting in the June primary. Last Wednesday, I did early voting in the June primary. So you can check that out. And then over the next, and then of course, Friday will be my Zoom with Zarni with Rachel May. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be changing the way I do my release schedule. The wonky Wednesdays will no longer be on Wednesdays starting August 1st. They'll be released on the weekends, and they'll be called the Weekly Wonk. I don't know. I just like these things. But I'm kind of I'm going to be still doing the statistical analysis, but it's a lot easier for me to write those blog posts on the weekend than it is during the work week. So my plan is to do those on the weekends, and I'll be releasing my Zoom with Zarni's hopefully on Thursdays instead of Fridays. So we'll, probably be like, Saturdays for the Weekly Wonk, and Thursdays for the Zoom with Zarni's. And of course, Commissioner in a Car will be moving, and Commissioner in a Car will be moving to Tuesdays. So that will be starting August 1st. So I'll keep you informed about how that goes going forward. So that is, but for right now, I'm still doing Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then we'll, Mondays, Commissioner Card, Wonky Wednesdays on Wednesdays, and then Fridays, Zoom with Zarni's. But I will be updating that as we get into the primary, because I feel like it's a better schedule for me to be able to continue to produce this content, but also be able to do my job, which is what I'm there to do. So thank you very much for tuning in. Go to DustinZarni.com. You can remember to subscribe to get all content, like and rate on Spotify, whatever, all of that stuff. I don't get paid for any of this. This is something I do on my own, and I never will take money for it because it is part of my voter education outreach as Commissioner of Elections in Onondaga County. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.